What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Friday, January 5th, 2024, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. So, last night, North Korea fired 200 rockets at an island in South Korea, and South Korea evacuated two islands completely and told people to shelter in place. And South Korea responded with some live fire exercises right on the border with North Korea. And South Korea is now bracing for possibly more attacks from the north. I want to update you guys on that. It's been quiet so far today on that, but we currently have U.S. nuclear forces on high alert. We have multiple emergency action messages going out this afternoon, and we also have 3 nuclear war command and control planes up in the air this afternoon. So here you can see 3 Boeing E-6B Mercury planes and a Cobra Ball plane. Now, Cobra Balls are used for detecting missile launches. Okay, so I don't know if North Korea is going to launch a missile now, but we have 3 nuclear war command and control planes up in the air this afternoon. We have one off the coast of New Jersey out here in the Atlantic off the continental shelf. It took off from Patuxent River not too long ago, late this morning. We had another one take off from Patuxent River, and it went down into the Gulf, and it turned its transponder off, guys. Okay, it is very rare for these planes to turn their transponders off. And then we also have a third one flying over northern Colorado. And then here we have the Cobra Ball, which is used for detecting missile launches. So something is going on, guys. We have a lot of things going on last night with North Korea attacking South Korea. And I have a source who lives right next to Raven Rock Mountain Complex, or Site R. That's the alternate Pentagon. That's where the DOD would go during a nuclear war. They would go to Raven Rock. It's close to Camp David, but it's on the Pennsylvania side. This person told me that there were 2 doomsday planes flying towards Camp David this morning at around 8:30 a.m. Okay, 2 doomsday planes, large white planes that were flying really low, close to each other, coming from the northeast and heading southwest towards Camp David. Okay, so this is very, very concerning, guys. So here's an official statement coming from the South Korean Joint Chiefs of Staff. It was released late last night after the news broke about this incident. So it says here the North Korean military fired more than 200 rounds from around 0900 to 1100 today, Friday, January 5th, in the area of Cape Jangsin, north of Byang Island, and Cape Mountain, north of Yanpyeong Island. There is no damage to our people or military as a result, and the point of impact is the northern area of the northern limit line. This is a provocation that threatens peace on the Korean peninsula and increases tensions by resuming artillery fire within the West Sea buffer zone after North Korea unilaterally insisted on breaking the September 19 agreement on November 23, 2023. We sternly warn that North Korea is solely responsible for this escalating crisis and strongly urge it to stop immediately. Our military is tracking and monitoring related trends under close cooperation between South Korea and the United States, and will take appropriate measures in response to North Korea's provocations. So very serious, guys, very serious. Okay, they fired these rockets somewhere near Yanpyeong Island, which is right over here. Okay, this is the Korean Peninsula. So this was on the western side of the Korean Peninsula, right near the border. So apparently North Korea fired rockets into South Korea, essentially, and we don't know yet if the rockets impacted the island or if they impacted the water. There's no confirmation of that just yet. So we're going to have to wait and see, but I have a feeling we're not going to know the whole story. And then here's the other island. So both of these are inside of South Korea. You can see this dashed line, which represents the border. So these are in South Korea, guys. And North Korea fired rockets basically at these islands, okay? So this is very, very concerning. We also had a B-1 bomber crash in Ellsworth Air Force Base last night in South Dakota, just outside of Rapid City. Ellsworth Air Force Base is the primary base for the B-1s. Okay, the B-1 is a supersonic nuclear bomber. Okay, it's nuclear capable. Officially, they don't use it for the nuclear mission anymore, but they could easily use it for dropping nukes and releasing cruise missiles if they have to during a crisis, during an actual nuclear war. They could easily load these up with air-launched cruise missiles with nukes on them. So this is a picture here showing that B-1 at Ellsworth, okay, on the ground here. Apparently it skid out on the ice. The runway was icy because of fog, freezing fog. All right, so you can see very frozen landscape there. Okay, that's not uncommon at all in South Dakota. That's actually very common to have freezing fog over there. So this thing slid out. And luckily, thank God, that all the crew and the pilot were able to eject and they were not harmed. And North Korean leader Kim Jong-un called for expanded production of missile launchers in preparation for a military showdown with South Korea and the United States, state media said Friday. State media images showed Kim Jong-un and his young daughter Ju-ae in tow, touring a factory that produces transporter erector launchers used for the country's ICBMs before hailing a dynamic drive for increased production of the weapons. Kim Jong-un told workers increasing TEL production capacity was important given the prevailing grave situation that requires the country to be more firmly prepared for a military showdown with the enemy. Okay, so very concerning, guys. And I want to remind you guys that Kim Jong-un met with Vladimir Putin in Russia in September, okay? We have Dmitry Rogozin, the head of the Russian space agency Roscosmos, posting on Telegram that Russia needs to create a corridor to Kaliningrad, okay? So this guy is a prominent figure in Russia. He's an oligarch. He's the head of Roscosmos, okay? And he posted this on Telegram. He said, "The time has come to cut a corridor to the Kaliningrad region for travel of our citizens from Russia to Russia. Visas and other permissions from foreign authorities are intolerable." So if you don't know what Kaliningrad is, it's a small piece of Russia that is actually outside of continental Russia. It's sandwiched between Lithuania and Poland. And basically what he's saying is that Russia should create a connection, a land bridge to Kaliningrad, just like they created a land bridge to Crimea by attacking Ukraine. So they would basically attack Lithuania and Poland in the Suwalki Gap and connect Kaliningrad to Belarus, or if they attacked, let's say, Estonia and Latvia and made a land bridge from there. Okay, so this is very concerning, guys. And we have unconfirmed reports that the Russian chief of staff, the top general in Russia, was killed last night in strikes on Crimea by Ukraine. And Russia claims last night Ukraine launched the largest air attack on Crimea ever. Apparently, over 23 Russian soldiers were killed, and 5 of them were high-ranking members of the Russian military, including possibly Gerasimov. Okay, so Ukraine may have taken out Valery Gerasimov last night. We don't have any official confirmation of this yet, but we do know that multiple high-ranking members of the Russian military were taken out, and there was a massive attack on Crimea and the Novorossiysk naval base that Russia has, which is pretty far from Ukraine. So Ukraine is really demonstrating capabilities that they haven't demonstrated in the past by launching this massive attack so far away from Ukrainian borders. Okay. And here we have a post by a prominent Russian mill blogger on Telegram. And they said here that 23 military personnel were killed at 2 sites, 5 of them high ranking officers. Also among the dead were at least 9 special forces soldiers. They also say here that several air defense and electronic warfare elements were lost. So this is pretty serious, guys. Okay. Not only did they take out high ranking officers, possibly Gerasimov, but they might have taken out some radars and some electronic warfare elements. So serious attack by Ukraine last night. And the Biden administration is preparing for an escalation in the Middle East and expansion of the war in Gaza. Politico is reporting that the Biden administration officials are drawing up plans for the U.S. to respond to an expansion of the war in Gaza to a wider, protracted regional conflict, including a senior administration official described internal conversations about scenarios that could potentially draw the U.S. into another Middle East war. All were granted anonymity to speak about sensitive ongoing national security discussions. The military is drafting plans to hit back at Iran-backed Houthi militants who have been attacking commercial shipping in the Red Sea, according to 3 officials with direct knowledge of the discussions. That includes striking Houthi targets in Yemen, according to one of the officials, an option the military has previously presented. Intelligence officials, meanwhile, are coming up with ways to anticipate and fend off possible attacks on the U.S. by Iranian-backed forces in Iraq and Syria. According to one of the officials, they are also working to determine where the Houthi militants may strike next. So this is crazy, guys. It's really escalating in the Middle East, okay? The Biden administration is drawing up plans for an all-out war in the Middle East, and they're drawing up plans for an attack on Yemen. I told you guys that they were in the final stages of preparation for a massive strike on Yemen. Now Politico is coming out and saying this, and intelligence officials are coming up with ways to fend off more attacks by Iranian proxies. So the situation is escalating everywhere, guys, all over the world. The Middle East, Korea, Ukraine, soon China, Taiwan, Venezuela, Guyana. And this update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply is doing a 25% off sale on their 4-week emergency food supply. And to get the deal, you have to go to preparewithNYPrepper.com. And again, that's 25% off of their 4-week emergency food supply. That's a $60 discount. And the food supply includes over 2,000 calories per day, up to a 25-year shelf life. It's packed into 2 rugged buckets and weighs 38 pounds total. Free shipping is included. And what's great about this is you have 4 weeks of food in just 2 buckets. You can easily put that anywhere. And if you have to bug out, you can easily throw that in your vehicle. Now, My Patriot Supply also has a general store where they sell pretty much any prepping and survival related product you could imagine. To get to their general store, you have to go to the My Patriot Supply logo at the top of the preparewithNYPrepper.com webpage. You click on that logo and it takes you to their general store, and you can see they have pretty much anything you could imagine. They have potassium iodide at a great price. I have a few of these. They also have survival bars, survival seeds, water filters, solar generators, anything you can imagine. So check out preparewithNYPrepper.com to get 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 1-month emergency food supply. The link is in the description below this video. Potentially now Argentina and Britain. And after the attack in Iran, where 2 bombs were set off at the 4th anniversary memorial service for Soleimani, a red flag was raised at the Jamkaran Mosque, which means a call for revenge. And here's some footage showing that red flag being raised above this mosque. And the Minister of Education of Lithuania proposed a gradual abandonment of teaching Russian in secondary schools following the regulations already in force in Latvia and Estonia. So that is huge, guys. That is going to really antagonize Putin. Okay, Putin already warned the Baltic countries that there would be consequences if they did stuff like this. So now Lithuania will be abandoning the teaching of Russian in secondary schools. Okay, so that is huge. And a U.S. military base in eastern Syria near the Al Omar oil field was attacked last night by Iranian proxies with drones. And apparently, there's currently intense Israeli attacks on several areas in the central Gaza Strip. And the list of countries telling people to leave Lebanon is growing. We now have Austria. And in addition to Austria, we have Germany, the UK, Denmark, Sweden, Canada, Kuwait, and the US. Okay, so multiple countries telling people get out of Lebanon now. Okay, and Germany is actually sending the Luftwaffe, which is the German Air Force, to Lebanon to evacuate citizens. Okay, so something is about to go down in Lebanon. And the other day, the chief of staff of the Israeli military visited northern Israel, okay, right near the border with Lebanon, and he met with all his commanders there. So something big is about to go down in Lebanon. And here we have a picture of an Iranian cruise missile that apparently failed to launch in Iraq somewhere near Babylon. And this was posted by U.S. Central Command this morning on Twitter. Let me read to you what they wrote here. On January 3rd, that's 2 days ago, on January 3rd, Iraqi police in Babylon discovered a land attack cruise missile of Iranian design that failed to launch. So apparently Iraqi police found this missile somewhere, okay? So absolutely insane, guys. I want to just show you guys some interesting flight paths in the Middle East. Last night, we had an RQ-4 Global Hawk that flew from Sicily and it went down into the Red Sea. This is pretty unusual, and it's definitely a sign that something is about to go down. Okay, this is a reconnaissance drone. They don't go into the Red Sea that often. They usually use these drones for targeting to gather information on possible targets, and they send that information to war planners, okay? And then there was an MRTT in the air near the Bab al-Mandeb Strait, which is the little strait that connects the Gulf of Aden to the Red Sea. So this is very, very concerning to have one of these. This is an aerial refueler, and it was doing loops here for a long period of time right outside the strait. Very, very concerning. We also had a U.S. Air Force airborne command post in the air in western Iraq near the Syria border. They usually send these things up before they do some kind of an airstrike in Iraq. So it might be that they're going to be launching some kind of an airstrike soon. And here we have video footage, apparently, of the German Air Force being sent to Lebanon to pick up citizens to evacuate them from Lebanon. Okay, so very concerning. And the U.S. is committed to supporting Ukraine for as long as it takes, but that does not mean that the level of support will remain at the levels of 2022 and 2023. State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller said at a press conference yesterday. Okay, so the U.S. is going to scale down the level of support for Ukraine. Okay, it's not going to be at the same levels of 2022 and 2023. So that's pretty concerning. Okay, that's a huge opportunity now for Russia. And members of the UN Security Council will discuss North Korea's supply of ballistic missiles to Russia on January 10th. And the Norwegian military announced the transfer of its F-16s to airports in Denmark, where training of Ukrainian pilots is ongoing. And the Indian Navy intervened to deal with an attempt to hijack a commercial ship in the Arabian Sea. And apparently, a Liberian flagged ship with 15 sailors on board was hijacked late last night near Somali ports, and Indian commandos boarded the ship and neutralized the hijackers. There is video footage out there, but unfortunately, I cannot show it. But it literally shows these Indian special ops basically on a Zodiac going up to this boat and boarding it, and then going through the ship and neutralizing every hijacker on the ship. So pretty impressive by India. And I want to just show you guys some more flight paths here. So last night we had 2 British Eurofighter Typhoons operating off the coast of Cyprus near Lebanon. And in Taiwan, we had a rivet joint flying near the Taiwan Strait, on the southern part of the Taiwan Strait. And rivet joints are reconnaissance planes. There was also a Taiwan Air Force plane that flew very low through the Taiwan Strait. And we also had a sub-hunter plane in the eastern Mediterranean last night off the coast of Lebanon. And we also had a sub-hunter flying in the Baltic Sea off the coast of Kaliningrad near northern Poland. And we also have multiple winter storm warnings up for the Appalachian Mountains in the eastern U.S., and we have winter weather advisories. You could see here basically the entire Appalachian Mountains, with the exception of Tennessee and Kentucky, are under winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories. Here in my area, we are under a winter storm warning in north central Pennsylvania. I'll update you guys on the snow situation here, but looks like we're going to get up to 8 inches, which is really not that big of a deal, but a lot of people are going to be affected here. Seems like the big East Coast cities are going to be spared. And I want to just update you guys on this massive sunspot that is now rotating towards the Earth-facing side of the sun. It is now facing us almost directly. Sunspot 3536. It gave off an X 5.0 solar flare a few days ago, which is the strongest solar flare since 2017. Okay, since September 10th, 2017. Okay, we have not had a solar flare that strong. And luckily, thank God, that solar flare was not on the Earth-facing side of the sun, but it is now rotating towards us. And the NOAA says that there's a 40% chance of solar flares today. So we'll have to wait and see if this thing erupts again and shoots out a massive X-class flare again, which could cause power outages and radio communications to go down and low-latitude auroras to occur. So a lot of news going on, guys. We have the situation in North Korea and South Korea. I'm going to be monitoring that. We have U.S. nuclear forces on high alert today. And it looks like we have 2 fronts in the Middle East that are about to open up. We have Lebanon and Yemen. Okay, looks like the U.S. is getting ready to strike Yemen any day now. And it looks like Israel may strike Hezbollah very, very soon. So I'm going to continue to monitor the situation for you. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit the notification bell below this video so you get notified when I post these updates. And if anything serious breaks, I will go live 24/7 if I have to. I will be back later on this evening with another update. Not sure if I'll do a video update or a live update. And I was going to read the winners of the 100,000 subscriber giveaway today, but because of the events last night with North Korea attacking South Korea, I had to go live in the middle of the night. And so I'm not going to be able to read the winners off today, but I will do that probably either tomorrow or probably most likely Monday. Okay. So that's pretty much it for this one, guys. I'll see you later on. Take care. God bless. And don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.